Hello and welcome back to Crosshatch Puzzles. We're here for another New York Times Daily Crossword Solve. Today is Monday, June 29th, 2026, and I'm back solving the puzzle from yesterday, Sunday, June 28th. This is a collaboration between Rebecca Goldstein and Christina Iverson, both accomplished constructors for the New York Times, both having contributed several dozen puzzles to New York Times. And it's a Sunday, so we'll expect an expanded grid and a perhaps tricky or involved theme. The title of this puzzle is Down in the Valley, which may have something to do with the way that we're entering theme entries. We'll have to get into it and find out, which we will do right now. So let's dive in. For Sunday, June 28th, a collaboration between Rebecca Goldstein and Christina Iverson. Okay, counterpart of a Rani, a queen in Hindi, is a Raja, maybe with the H here, we'll see. Santa blank, city that's home to the Charles M. Schulz Museum. Charles M. Schulz, the creator of Peanuts, the Peanuts comic, Charlie Brown, but I'm not sure where that is. One, acting on impulse. I think this is going to be an axon, a neural transmitter in the brain. Acting on neural impulses. Split from suddenly in a way. Don't know what we want there. Extras. Add-ons, possibly. This is exude? No. Rust, for example. Rust is an oxide, in this case iron oxide. Greek sun god is Helios. The Little Prince author, Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. This is what? Santa Roma, maybe? And to split from suddenly in a way. To jilt? Maybe? Let's see what else this could be. Was an employee at IHOP in Valley speak. I'm going to take that out just because I'm not sure how that fits in. Quick bite, maybe nosh. Word with job or track. I don't see it. Let this be a lesson. I don't know. Shakespearean conjunction. Deep-seated desires. Probably ending in an S. Oh, I didn't look at the cross clues here. Milk source. I mean, this could be some kind of nut or something like that, or it could be something like a teat. The teat of a cow. Score direction for some stringed instruments. Maybe arco, to bow as opposed to pluck. Shakespearean conjunction. Is ear a conjunction? I thought it was a preposition. Deep-seated desires could be aches. Wide and uninhibited as a grin. A grin. Ah, interesting. Let this be a lesson. Take heed. Yeah, okay. More likely to clap back. Sassier, maybe? What kind of job? What kind of track? Spec. Specification, a detail, maybe? Move in realtor speak. I think this is a relocation. Maybe this is deet. Oh, inside job or inside track. Okay. So maybe deet. Relating to some forces on Earth. Tidal, probably. God who sacrificed an eye for wisdom is Odin, Norse god. Smallest relative of an ostrich. A kiwi bird, maybe? Nowhere to be found, maybe AWOL. Kind of mushroom that comes in a bundle. That's enoki mushrooms. Leave alone, to let be, possibly. Craving, an itch. We have itch here and we have ache up there. Got just right. Aced, maybe like a test or some kind of, I'm not sure. Doctor Who and Dr. Foster error with the. This is the Beeb, which is the nickname for the BBC, British Broadcasting Corporation. Souvenir from the seashore, a shell probably. She sells seashells. Jessica of the Better Sister, I think Jessica Biel probably. 4 letters starting with a B. Time to give up, question mark. Lent is a time where you might give up something that you otherwise partake in. Very involved in, not sure. Catch-all phrase from Latin, maybe et alii or et alia. I've gotten caught putting the wrong one of those in the puzzle before, so I'm going to leave the last letter until later. Fashion designer Imhoff. This is Ella, was it her name? The Kamala Harris's running mate's daughter, Doug Emhoff's daughter, I think, something like that. Gathers together, not sure. Spanish, my God, Dios mío, something like that. Folded handout, probably a leaflet. Gathers together, flocks together, maybe. Light into. Light into. Laser? What if this is, what if this is flocks together? What if this is Dios mío? Home of the road to Hana, whose 64-mile length contains more than 600 curves. Don't know. Modern day Persia is Iran. Neglect to include is to omit. This won't last. Island where parts of Jurassic Park were filmed. Kauai, I think. Is this Maui, the road to Hana? 2 Hawaiian clues back to back. This won't last. Stint? Saint? Light into. Lays at? A stint? Performed some witchcraft in Valley Speak. This sure looks like it's going to be charm. Light into. To lash at? Very involved in. Knee deep in. High five. For example, is that an example of a clap? Is that what we want? A Nobel laureate Weasel is Elie Wiesel. Carnival maker. Do we want Rio, the city that puts on the carnival? But then what's this? Prop, maybe? A congratulations. Something consumed by the ton by whales. Krill, I think. But then what? High five, for example. Is that a flop in poker? Joints? No. Slop. Why? Joints shown by no-show socks. Ankles? Kiev's country, abbreviated. UKR for Ukraine. Extol. To... In the style of Allah. Extol. To laud, maybe? So all of these Valley Speak clues. Tank? Prepared for some new pet fish. Something tank? Something the tank? Clears as profit. Welcome at the door, not sure. Whiskey flavor, maybe peat? Peat moss? Not peat moss, sorry. But I think peat is the answer. Chow. Buy, maybe? Washington, D.C.'s International Blank Museum, not sure. You had one job, so this does look like a buy. Some pulpy drinks for short OJs. International Spy Museum, maybe? Made some outfielder errors. Dropped like fly. Oh, I get what's going on. This is a slap after all. This is a Kia. I guess they make a car called the Carnival, which I didn't know. Dropped like flies. Okay, so I think what we want here is all sorts of phrases that have all sorts of phrases that have like in the middle of them. And what would the phrases mean if you took the like out? I see now that we have like and like and like and like all the way down here, which I didn't see before. So this looks like et alia. So this is worked like a charm. So if you can imagine this phrase, worked like a charm, which is a normal phrase, it means something worked just as expected or even better than expected. But if you imagine that it's someone speaking in Valley speak, where like is just inserted for emphasis or for pause in the middle of a phrase, and then tried to reinterpret the phrase as if like was just a filler word, and so you take the word like out semantically, and it leaves you with the phrase worked a charm, which might be the answer to the clue, performed some witchcraft. So if you can imagine someone saying that someone performed some witchcraft, and they're saying they worked like a charm and put like in as a filler, I think that's what's going on here. So here too, made some outfielder errors in Valley speak is dropped like flies. They dropped fly balls. Okay. So that's very interesting. I'd like to see what the rest of this is. Was an employee at IHOP. What do you do at IHOP? And how does this... Maybe this is not Roma. What else could it be? Santa Rosa? Sold, maybe? No, though. A bit of travel info for short. Maybe the ETA? Oh, there's going to be a like in here too. Fanned some Egyptian royalty. Something about palms, maybe? New Mexico seat. Oh, sorry, New Mexico County or its seat. Water colors. Blues, possibly? Start of a song with the same tune as Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. I think we want Baba Black Sheep there, which is... Ba shows up in the puzzle a lot. But this is a new clue for it, I think. So blues looks okay here. Crispy, say. Hadron component. A laser, probably? But then what is this? Maybe that's not right. Iconic nerd of 1990s TV, probably Steve Urkel. Of Family Matters. Lines on some grids, abbreviated. Lines on some grids. I guess streets, if the grid is a map. Needing iron supplements, say. Ooh. I kind of want anemic here, but then blues doesn't work. Maybe it's aquas and not blues. How does that work? Hadron component, a quark or a quark. Not sure which. And if this is anemic, that works. And then crispy, say, could be burnt. So then ABC, yeah. So not Baba Black Sheep, which would have worked just fine. But AB, the alphabet song. So this is going to be sold like hotcakes, which is funny, and that'll be a quark. So sold like hotcakes, hotcakes being another word for pancakes. Wide and uninhibited as a grin. I still don't see what this is, though, somehow. Designer who helped popularize the beatnik look in brief. Actress Kurylenko of Quantum of Solace. Is this Olga, I think? Extra space, a gap, maybe? Mind the gap, etc. I knew it. Aha! Sharp-edged tool, maybe an all. Peaceful period. Peaceful period. Peaceful period. Am I missing something? What can I do to help? Okay, so this is not, no, what can what Alaska is among all the states? The coldest? Probably. Eccentric sort? Sure. Oh, this is probably like here. Eccentric sort then could be a kook. One of 5 Norwegian kings, probably Olaf. Or maybe Olav. Let me leave that out. Neuron, for example. Course in a Brazilian meal. Something is up here. Intellectual gathering. Carpet on the forest floor is probably moss. Wolf down is to scarf down or snarf down. Intellectual gathering. Not sure. Irritated with. Something at. Oily fruits. Olives? Get even? Question mark. Director Kurosawa, Akira Kurosawa. Irritated with, sore at, possibly. Is this snarf? Salon, maybe? Mentally nimble. Get even, make something? Clever, mentally nimble. Salada, okay. Shook like a leaf. Okay. Toothy grin. Aha. YSL, I guess. Yves Saint Laurent. Taos, New Mexico. Fine. This looks like hawk. Watched like a hawk. Something like that. Peaceful period. What can we do to help? And then what is this sharp-edged tool? An axe? A peaceful period could be a pax. Okay. Yeah. To get even, to make level. So this is Olaf with a V then. To literally make something sort of even. Grub. Food eats, maybe? Wild guess. A shot. Pop singer Rita Ora. Wild guess as a stab then. What took so long? Oh, sure. Summary of a contract's details. Something sheet. It's Raining Men, gay anthem. W-2 requirement in brief as your social security numbers. Solemn words might be oaths. Improve is to what? Heal? Listings in a bankruptcy filing. Assets? What took so long? Something about time. Yeah, okay. Oh, sure. I'll bet. Usually sarcastic there, I guess. Term sheet? Term sheet? This looks like thumb. Hitchhiked with a hangnail in Valley speak. Stuck out like a sore thumb. Stuck out like a sore thumb. Yeah, okay. One might be named for a king or queen. Radio City Music Hall style. Informally. Treats in a way as a swelling. You might ice smelling. So many could be lots of. Deco. Oh, one might be named for a king or queen, an era in history. And so this is the style, not of the music, but of the hall itself, is Art Deco. Okay. Pretty fishy. Sus, maybe? Riddle in Zen Buddhism. Oh, it's a koan, I think, is what those are called. Mathematician John, who won a Nobel in economic science in 1994. John Nash. as popularized in the film A Beautiful Mind. God who rides a chariot pulled by two goats is Thor. So we have Thor and Odin close to each other in the puzzle here. John Nash. Keep dreaming. Heck no. First state to implement a bottle deposit to fight littering. First state. What state fits in here? First state. Why don't I see this? Pump. Say. Suck. They shine during the day. Remote button. Great heights. Is this watched like a hawk? What is this? Swamp critter. A croc? Supplies. Stalks, maybe. Watched like a hawk looks okay. Some microbuses in brief. I don't know, but probably with an S there. Architectural feature above a belfry. Maybe a spire. They shine during the day. Great heights. Altitudes, maybe. I've been had, you could say, if you've been had. What is this? Something stars? Oregon. I don't know why that took me so long. First state. Does look like something stars. Soap stars. Oh, shine during the day. Okay, remote button, volume button, and some microbuses are Volkswagens. Okay, VWs. Pump, say. A shoe. A pump is a style of shoe. Okay. Official fuel of the NHL in Canada is Esso. Competitor who has manners. A good sport. Spot to plot. Spot to plot. Plot what? Was mistaken. Oh, maybe not a good sport? I really want aired here. Was mistaken. State capital in the Treasure Valley. Don't know where that is. Specialized vocabularies. Lingos. Maybe this is not a good sport. Cousin of a Tony. An Obie award. Stepped up to the plate. Batted. Woes. Person from South Asia. A Desi. Oh, there's more. I don't know. This looks like here, though, like a tank. Prepared for some new pet fish in Valley speak. Something like a tank. I don't know. Specialized vocabularies. Woes are ills. Oh, there's more. And also, phew, finished. Okay, done. Government lawyers, DAs, district attorneys, clears as profit. Earns, I guess. Welcome at the door is to ask in. Little Redhead in a long-running Broadway show is Annie. Route is away, and best binary question type is a yes/no question. So abbreviation in a job posting, EEO, equal opportunity employer. Sushi consisting of thin slices of fish over rice are nigiri. Awe-inspiring light show, the Aurora, maybe. This is aired after all. For it was mistaken. Spot to plot, a lair, and as a dungeon of an evil genius or something. This looks like Boise, the state capital, Boise, Idaho. A good loser then here. Built like a tank, gotcha. Biblical tower locale, the Tower of Babel, and specialized vocabularies are argots. Not bad for a Sunday. It's 23 odd minutes. Let's take a look at the theme. No revealer, but we do have Down in the Valley as the title, and what they're referring to is Valley Speak, which I think came from sort of the early 2000s, so we're talking about 25 years old, this kind of thing, and I don't know if this kind of speak is prevalent anymore in that area or anywhere. But the sort of stereotypical thing that was characteristic of Valley Speak was the insertion of the word like as emphasis, as filler, anywhere in a sentence. Although presumably, or most often perhaps, right after the main verb of the sentence. And so that's the construction that we have here, where we've taken popular phrases that already have the word like in them and reinterpreted the whole phrase, as if the word like is just a filler word, as if the word like was semantically removed. So instead of sold like hotcakes, so the clue at 23 across, the first one of these is was an employee at IHOP in Valley Speak. And so instead of the original phrase sold like hotcakes, which means sort of flew off the shelves or sold really quickly, we take the word like out semantically, and it leaves us with sold hotcakes, sold pancakes, which is what an employee at IHOP might have done. And so we would pretend that that clue is being spoken by someone who's speaking Valley Speak and inserting that word like into it. At 32 across, fanned some Egyptian royalty in Valley Speak is not shook like a leaf, which might mean trembled out of fear, but shook a leaf, a palm leaf, which might be used, sort of waved back and forth to cool down a royalty. At 47 across, did some birding in Valley Speak, so not watched like a hawk, which means kept a keen eye on, but literally watched a hawk, which is a way of doing some birding, to watch some birds. The spanner here, 21 letters across, hitchhiked with a hangnail in Valley Speak. So not stuck out like a sore thumb, which means sort of to be inconspicuous. To be conspicuous, overly conspicuous, but rather stuck out a sore thumb. So you might have a sore thumb from a hangnail, and if you might stick that sore thumb out if with your hangnail you're trying to hitchhike. At 89 across, made some outfielder errors in Valley Speak, not dropped like flies, meaning fell with little effort. But just dropped fly balls, and instead of catching them, resulting in an error by an outfielder. At 108 across, prepared for some new pet fish in Valley Speak, not built like a tank, meaning sort of very very sturdy or robust or built, but built a tank, literally assembled a tank to prepare for fish. And finally, performed some witchcraft in Valley Speak. Not worked like a charm, meaning worked exactly to specification or up to expectation, but worked a charm, cast a spell, performed some witchcraft. Worked like a charm. So that is the theme. Very good theme. Clever idea, if a little bit past its time, but a good sort of retro recollection of a previously very, very widespread way of speaking. Some other cool clues here. Watercolors. We don't want the type of paint here, but we want literally the kind of colors that you might use to depict water. In this case, aquas. I can't believe that I had blues in here, which is an equally appropriate answer for this, and I managed to cross blues with Ba for Baba Black Sheep, which Baba Black Sheep, the ABC song, and Twinkle Twinkle Little Star all share the same melody. So that's really tricky and definitely threw me for a loop there. But of course the other clues don't match. The other entries don't match there. Crispy could mean a lot of things, but in this case we want burnt. An intellectual gathering I didn't really talk about. A salon was a sort of a gathering of particularly cultural intellectuals in the sort of 19th century and continuing on into today. I didn't even look at this one. Dream stage is REM, rapid eye movement sleep is where you experience dreams. I did not know that Yves Saint Laurent helped popularize the beatnik look. News to me, but that's fine. What did spec end up being? It ended up being a deet, which spec seems much more technical to me. Deet seems a much more layperson speak, but fine, I suppose. There's a few instances here where I decided to leave a letter out until I was more sure, and this is one of those, one of 5 Norwegian kings. Olaf could be spelled with an F or a V, but in this case it's the currently less common, or anglicizedly less common, V. But I think V is actually the more proper way of doing it in the Norwegian language. We have both Odin here at 58 across and Thor at 71 down, which is a good relation there. Radio City Music Hall style, again, not looking for the style of music, but the style of architecture of the building itself. I didn't know, but I'm not that surprised that Oregon was the first state to implement a bottle deposit on presumably glass bottles for drinks. Time to Give Up is a clever clue for Lent. What else? Spot to plot is tricky a little bit, I suppose. We've got to first interpret the word plot in here in the sense of an evil plot by some kind of, evil genius or someone, a villain of some kind, who might be plotting in his lair, his or her lair. This won't last. I guess a stint does sort of implicitly carry the implication of being temporary, which is fine. This does end up being Santa Rosa. I don't know what that has to do with Charles M. Schulz, but I'll look that up and put it in the video description along with anything else that I discovered that I haven't talked about. To jilt, to split from suddenly, to jilt is sort of to leave unceremoniously. Like you can, like if you leave somebody at the altar, you can talk about that person. You've jilted that person. And so this is, I think, to split from sort of relationship-wise. It's fine. Shakespearean conjunction, heir. I swear this is only used as a preposition. If I'm wrong about this, please correct me in the comments. Toothy took me a long time. Oops, toothy took me a long time. To get even is to literally to even something out, as in a painting that you're putting on a wall to make level. Tricky. Oily fruit's also tricky because we don't sort of think of olives as fruits most of the time, but they are. They have pits. I always want scarf here, but it's almost always snarf in the grid. They Shine During the Day is clever for soap opera stars. Relating to some forces on Earth, I mean, could be practically anything, but thankfully it had some crosses and was able to get tidal. I did not know that kiwis and ostriches is related, but I guess both flightless birds, they don't really look anything like each other, so that's news to me, I suppose. We have a bunch of these kind of quotation clues. I see some on this side here. Oh, sure, and I've been had. Oh, sure turns out to be I'll bet. I've been had. Actually, that's a fill in the blank clue, not a quote clue. Chow here for buy. And then we have I knew it is aha. Keep dreaming is heck no. What took so long is about times. Lots of good ones there. Thankfully, I remembered a koan here for a Zen riddle. What else? Few finished. Another quote clue for okay done. And we have these two intersecting Hawaii clues here. The Road to Hana in Maui and Jurassic Park filmed in Kauai. Yeah, and this final one got me for a while. Carnival Maker. I didn't know there was a Kia model named the Carnival, so fine. Good job by Rebecca and Christina, or whoever edited it, to come up with that clue. Anyway, a great puzzle for Sunday, June 28th. I hope you enjoyed this solve. If you did, leave me a thumbs up and let me know. And if you want to know when I'm posting next, which I will try and do today's puzzle as well and get that posted, then hit that subscribe button and you'll get that notification. And we'll see you next time on Crosshatch Puzzles. Cheers.